definitely more action and really amazing stunts.
The whole movie was really designed to be almost like one exciting action set piece after the next.
I think there's going to be quite a surprise for people. It's a new version of 3D.
In his latest film, director Robert Rodriguez revolutionizes the way films are made, taking the audience on an adventure into a whole new dimension. The third dimension in Spy Kids 3D Game Over. In the next half hour, we'll uncover the groundbreaking technology that transports the audience right in the middle of the action and take a look at the history of 3D films. We'll go behind the scenes with the cast and crew and get a look at what it takes to create the video game world of Spy Kids 3D Game Over.
So originally it wasn't a Spy Kids movie in my mind. I thought of it as a science fiction movie for kids. So it was about children going to a video game, getting stuck in the video game, and it being in 3D.
Just go out there in your battle mech and fight.
Even the most mundane shot seems more interesting in 3D.
Send in the Tinker toys.
It really pulls you in. So it is more exciting visually. And we are working in a visual medium, so when you get into the 3 dimensions like that, it's a lot more fun.
That's impossible.
Hey, cut, let's go more.
Spy Kids 3 is about this virtual reality game that people are really into.
Game Over! The biggest video game to ever be created, period. Created by someone known only as the Toy Maker.
About these children that get trapped in a game created by yours truly, the Toy Maker.
What I want, what we want, what do we want?
They're lured in by untold wealth and gifts and prizes for the rest of their life, and what it is a big trap.
What are you doing in the game, Arnold?
Well, actually, I'm here for the great prize behind level 5. It'll save my family from poverty.
This film picks up after Jimmy retires.
I'm no longer an agent. I can't help you.
The OSS calls him back in because he has to go save his sister.
Carmen!
She can't hear you. Her mind's still in the game. She got as far as level 4, then nothing.
When you get in the video game, it's kind of like you get to be the person who you would really want to be like.
Inside this video game, I am powerful, you know, and I'm bigger.
Grandpa, you can walk.
Oh, I can do more than that.
Arnold, Rez, and Francis are already in the game, and we're kind of like a group.
You guys must be beta testers.
We help them through the game and through all the different obstacles.
That was a really cool movie.
There's another girl in the movie, Demetra. She's very mysterious.
We're not quite sure if she's bad or good. I'm Demetra. The movie is called Game Over. So if you get a game over, there's no restarting the game or anything. You can't play it anymore. It's game over. Basically, you've lost your life.
Put on these glasses, and you'll enter the world of the game.
Somebody ring the dingster!
I think this 3D will really put the audience in the picture so they can go on the adventure with all the characters. And the whole idea of going into a video game, I think it's going to open up the movie in terms of the scope and the imagination of the film. So once you're in the video game, anything can happen.
The fact that it's going to be in like theaters where you actually have to put on the 3D glasses and watch the movie, that's what makes it fun and exciting. And also the fact that it's action, you feel like you're right there in the movie, so you can almost like feel the intense heat that's going on.
I'm sure all the kids who have come to see the other 2 films have never, ever seen a 3D film in the cinema, and certainly not one with a narrative like this one.
You have to remember one thing, that 3D now is not the 3D that it could be presented in movie theaters 20 years ago. You know, it's totally different.
Since its invention in 1838, stereoscopy has been used to create the illusion of a third dimension. It is believed the first 3D film is the French film The Train Leaving the Station, filmed in 1903 by the Lumiere brothers. Audiences panicked because they thought the train was about to crash right into them. The technology evolved over the years, leading to a 3D boom in the 1950s.
The first real features in this country were in the early 50s with Wanted Devil, which kind of started the 3D craze in the early 50s. It premiered in, I believe, October or November of 1952 and played quite a long time. And of course, the minute the studio saw that it was making money, they all started ramping up to make their own 3D movies. I mean, it was a big deal. People had never seen it before. Well, there were some minor pictures like Man in the Dark, but the big pictures were things like House of Wax and Kiss Me Kate, which had a huge release. Over 300 prints, which was really big for those days. They mostly seemed to like the idea of throwing things at the audience. They had things like avalanches where the rocks would start falling down a hill, and so the camera would be at the bottom of it looking up, and so the rocks would go into the audience, that sort of thing. In fact, when they ran It Came from Outer Space originally, they had people throwing foam rocks into the audience. It's not a very good movie, ultimately, but it's in great 3D.
I can tell you from its size and its appearance, this thing came from outer space. I even have reason to believe that there's some form of life in it. What do you want? What are you doing? Let me see you as you really are.
3D gets killed off every few years, but every 10 or 15, 20 years, somebody brings it back. I mean, in the 70s, it was The Stewardesses in 3D. In the 80s, it was things like Jaws 3D and Coming At Ya, and now Spy Kids 3D. This year is the 50th anniversary of 3D. I'm sure kids would have a ball with it.
You know, surprisingly, I always liked the idea of it, but I didn't really care for any of the 3D films. I always thought they could be done better. They were just limited in the technology back then.
Stop it! Stop it, I say!
And again, they were shot on film, so they couldn't see what they were doing. We couldn't have done it. In fact, it would have been impossible to shoot on film. And that, especially when it comes to things like performance, because 90% of the movie is shot on green screen. And the actors, even if they're supposed to have a prop in their hand, they don't even have a prop in their hand because we have to put that in so it looks like it's part of the game. So they had nothing to react to them, around them, or even in their hands. So it's very difficult for them. So what you want to do is create a lot of pre-visualization.
Me and other artists on the staff will do a quick sketch like this. And then once Robert signs off on the basic shapes, we'll build it in 3D to where he's pretty much a puppet, so we can go through all the acting processes. And then as he animates, we take it from storyboard all the way through to where he walks in, does his thing, and from there, it just constantly evolves.
And also now with computer-generated images, they didn't have that back then. So unless the actor was holding something up against the camera or poking his finger in the lens, you didn't have a 3D moment. So now with computer technology, we can send things into the audience all the time, so the actor can go about his scene, and we don't have to have, you know, them actually poking at the camera. So it's a much more natural performance from them, and the audience gets the benefit of constant involvement with the environment. There's probably 2,000 effects in the movie. Each one has to be done twice because there's two eyes. It's a left eye and a right eye, so it's double the work.
For example, we play a lot with depth in camera. Even if you are in a close-up, you may just play with your hands in front of the camera so that people got that illusion that they are almost in the place where the action is taking place.
But when you're acting in a vacuum at times. It's not easy, I must tell you, because I can't use my hands because they're superimposing larger hands on mine. For instance, I have to my hands like that and just make believe that I'm looking at them.
You know, when I went to the Lee Strasberg School 25 years ago, and they had a class in 3D acting, and I didn't take it. I didn't think I would ever need it, and now I'm regretting that I didn't take that 3D acting class.
I mean, it's hard for everybody because it's always on a green screen, so everyone has to imagine what's going on all the time. I call it the dream screen because it can be anything you want it to be.
Francis! Arnold! Riz! Grandpa!
I mean, there's just a lot of great things that will be so much more thrilling and scary because of the 3D. And watching the 3D monitor was just incredible. I mean, it really is just an exciting thing. You know, Robert always likes to sort of push the limit and try new technology, and this is just another step in that direction.
It's a lot of fun and a lot of work, and I don't think anyone else will try this for a while.
Give me the map. Okay.
The whole movie was really designed to be almost like a video game with one level after another, one exciting action set piece after the next. So it was fun to shoot the whole thing. I love video games. I used to play the early video games, you know, from Pong to our first home computer video games.
I think that everyone's into video games because you kind of get to become something else for a little while, and it totally takes you to somewhere else, and you become part of the video game. It's cool.
In Spy Kids, a video game, there's 5 levels.
Start off in the Toad level, we called it Pogo Land, where the Toads are jumping on pogo sticks, and it goes to the moon where he fights in the Robocon. I like the Robocon where he gets to man a giant robot and robot battles, and I know my kids like that one. And then the Mega Racers where they're racing along. It's kind of like a mini Road Warrior sequence for kids.
We have a staff battle scene level where 2 of our own people have to fight each other.
And whoever loses, it's out. They're out. No matter how many lives they have, it's game over for them. Then they go to the lava surf where they surf lava and battle this giant lava monster who throws rocks at you in 3D, of course.
This is new.
I wanted to have several different levels so that it just felt like the movie constantly progressed.
In this movie, I did all my own stunts. I had to go through some intense physical training every day. I lifted weights, I ran, I did obstacle courses with hurdling, and I did that 4 hours a day.
Carmen, what do we do? Judy! I enjoy all the stunts and everything, so that's why I do gymnastics. And I do all my own stunts in this movie again. The most exciting, I think, is when we're surfing on the lava, because they actually brought this giant setup in, like, where it's like shaped kind of like a U, and they basically like taped our feet into this surfboard looking thing, kind of like a skateboard, and we just roll up and down, and we're also wearing a harness. This is new. It was so much fun because they're blowing wind on you, so you really feel like you're surfing. We're always safe because Jeff Dashmel, the stunt coordinator, is there for us.
Jeff, he's the big man on campus, I guess you could say. He's a real cool guy, and he's been on 1 and 2. He's a great guy for stunts.
Get that out of my face.
I did one stunt in a scene where I'm battling another character with a staff, and I swing at Arnold, and then I fall back onto this mat. It's cool.
I get to fly in this movie, and the first time you see me, I fly in, and it's really cool because they put like a vest on you and it buckles across, and then they hook it from the back and you can fly. It's really neat.
What you doing? I'm just doing nothing.
I think the kids have become a lot more confident. I mean, some of the things they're having to do in this movie, I know they couldn't have done the first time, and it's because of the gradual succession of, you know, challenges that they've had to overcome throughout the movies.
Acting with Daryl and Alexa, who play Carmen and Junie, is really cool. They're both really nice.
Junie, who is this?
This is Demetria, my girlfriend, my friend. You know, she's
I'm his girlfriend. Who are you?
I'm his sister.
It's a lot of fun working with Daryl and Alexa. Alexa's actually an old friend of mine, so we go a couple years back, and Daryl is just like a little brother to me, so it's great working with him.
Hey! Get your own right, creepo! Sorry! I thought you were a toad!
You get to pretend you're in different places. It's pretty cool.
Daryl, this kid is so likable. I mean, in actuality, I've become very close to him. He's a lovable kid and a very talented boy. A delightful young kid. And of course, Alexa is also a wonderful young lady and very athletic. She's incredible.
Alexa and Daryl, I think, will remember these years as their wonder years. They've had a good time being with Robert, somebody who's such a kid and loves to play around and, you know, and really enjoys doing things with them, and I think they look back as the fun years.
The fact that they have been working so consistently in Spy Kids, they provide them with certain security in one aspect, and at the same time the possibility of proving and testing themselves in front of camera. And Robert Rodriguez is actually the perfect person to do that, because he's very, very good with kids.
I always just thought of myself as a movie maker, because a director seems like a very specific job. I try to do multiple tasks on a movie to make it feel a lot more like when I was at home making home movies, where you do a lot of jobs yourself.
Working with Robert Rodriguez, the director, is so cool. He explains everything. There's never anything I don't understand, and he's so fun. He's like a kid in a grown-up body. He's really cool.
He like writes, produces, edits, directs, does the whole thing.
There's nothing Robert can't do. I mean, Robert, first of all, Robert sees the picture in his mind as a finished product, and then he works backwards to see what he needs to do to create the effects that he's already seen in his mind.
I usually try to keep a pretty small crew, and everyone does multiple tasks. It's more fun that way. It's more family atmosphere.
It's one of those sets where you just feel really comfortable as soon as you arrive. I mean, everybody welcomes you with a sweet, warm smile, and it's such a family reunion.
It's great to see everyone again. Everyone's back. And there's some new faces too.
Salma Hayek plays the wife of Donegal Giggles. Her name is Francesca Giggles.
I get Robert and he gets me, so I always feel very safe working with him. I've been in every movie Robert's done except for the Spy Kids. So he said he would save me for the last one, and here we are.
You go in, find your sister, help her shut down the game in 12 hours, or it's game over for everyone.
And then as the toy maker, Sylvester Stallone, who we're really lucky to have brought in to the family.
Who are you people? We are you.
The game is pretty athletic, so I thought Stallone would work really well as the guy who created this very athletic, very extreme sort of video game.
I give them a map. I give them the girl. What more do they want? Can I just lead them to the door? Impossible, sir. The way the game's AI works is one... I know. Can I just talk to myself at least? You are talking to yourself. I am you. Well then, you, me, shut up.
This is definitely a departure. I'm working without a net on this one. I like, Robert Rodriguez. I think is a brilliant man. He has a total concept. So I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. It's kind of like this kind of schizoid ping pong.
Can we help him?
No, it's against the rules of the game.
This isn't a game.
It's life.
Robert Rodriguez has two passions in life. One of those passions is movies, and the other passion is family. And he got the opportunity in Spy Kids just to put those two things together, and it worked.
I think that kids respond to these movies and love them so much because kids are smart and kids don't want to be talked down to, and Robert has the heart of a child.
I mean, he really has his own brand of child's language, but the language also translates into adult vernacular because it's a real morality play. I mean, you'll come away going, I know it seems like a children's film, but how come I feel enlightened?
I think with this one, it's again a reminder of the importance of family, but also the acknowledgement of how we are all family to each other.
The message pretty much is that everyone's your family, and by the end of the movie, the kids can't do it by themselves. So they have to call in their family members to come help, so everyone shows up, and that's not enough. So they got to call in everybody who's ever been in any of the movies. So you get a really great third act where everyone you've ever seen before shows up in the third act to help out. That was sort of the theme of the movie, and it kind of gives it a theme for the whole series, which is cool.
And break!
I think that he's not making these movies to fit into any sort of formula. He's making these movies to push the limit of kids' imaginations, and I think that's really cool. It's definitely going to be an adventure.
Well, I think whether you saw Spy Kids 1 and 2 or not, you kind of get automatically sucked in.
Same fun, same excitement, more action.
I wanted that to be part of the movie. Things you can never do in a real adventure, they can do inside a game adventure.